Welcome to my video. Welcome to my video. Recording vocals, part 2. So yeah, welcome to video number 2 of 3, and this series, this triptych, this trifecta is all about vocal processing. We're working again on the awesome track Leveling the Tails by Hot Moth. Thank you very much, Hot Moth, for letting us use the track, get back together. And last week, in the last video, we looked at just the verse vocal, and I kind of took you through what's typically kind of my process, I suppose, for processing a lead vocal. We did it in a kind of very structured way. Basically, we don't need to go over that too much. Let's have a listen to what we've got so far. So that might be very well all you need. It's not quite there in terms of balance and stuff and the relationship with the reverb and things, but we're going to look at some kind of other extra stuff this time. So with this vocal, I wanted to add even more kind of bring out the character of Matt's voice a bit more. And what I liked about the way he sings is it's almost like the bits between the phrases as well as the actual phrases themselves, like the way he breathes and stuff, and that kind of thing is suited to kind of being a bit distorted. If memory serves, I mean, this was a long time ago. This was well over 5 years ago, I think. I tried just adding more of this decapitator plugin that I had on the main vocal that we looked at last time, and it was a case of, much like the serial compression, I was trying to do too much with one plugin. So I did keep this on here, and it's adding a little bit to that main vocal. I'd never run. I'd never run. It's helping him to thicken and even it out. But then I've got this other track going on here. I'm going to turn off the automation just to play it to you. I'd never run. But they said I'm gone wall again. Okay, so hopefully you can hear what I mean. Like, I've left all those breaths and stuff in between because it's part of the performance. It's not always the case. Sometimes you want to cut that stuff out, but if I cut it out of this, it wouldn't work. So essentially on this track, let's get rid of the effects a little bit. I've got the LA2A again. I'd never run. Okay. But so in this case, this is just smashing it with the compressor. Last time we used the LA2A was more of a limiting, catching the peaks on the other vocals. So this time it's hitting it quite hard. We're getting kind of up to nearly kind of minus 10 dB on that. The idea of this is I just want this to be a constant thing. So I've absolutely slammed that. I've de-essed it a little bit. And then I've added this Devil Lock from Sound Toys. And I really love this compressor on vocals anyway. I'll often use it way more subtly just on a lead vocal because I don't always do this parallel thing. It's just something you can try. And yeah, so I'll often use it on stuff really low mix just to give it some character, and it really thickens things up because it's got this crunch control here as well as the crush, which this is the compression, which is quite a dirty compression anyway. And it's just very simple controls. It's just got fast or slow release, a compressor, and then the crunch, which is just kind of like driving it a bit. So when I put this on, you'll hear it. I'd never run. Okay, and I'd never run. Should we try just putting that in the mix on its own? I'd never run, but they said I'm gone. Okay, so that's cool sound, bit much on its own. So this is where we would blend it in with our other vocal. I think when I did the original mix, I probably would have thinned out the lead vocal a little bit before adding this one in because it's so thick. I might be wrong on that. Some of the processing and things I had on the old session, I don't have those plugins and stuff anymore. I had to kind of rejig a little bit, but this is basically what I did. So we're going to play the initial vocal and I'm going to blend in some of this distorted vocal and see what happens. Yeah, so I really like the way that sounds. I think it really kind of brings something cool to the vocal. That's a fairly good blend of it. And if I turn my automation back on, it will now have all the automation. So we did this, we talked about this last time. I've got all this volume automation. And this is where I was saying it kind of might have seemed a little bit over the top when we were talking in context of what was a fairly clean vocal, but when you got this distortion going on as well, then you're adding them together, it's kind of bringing up all the breaths and stuff that I do want to hear with this compression, but it was just a bit too much, and some of the S's and stuff. So both of these have some automation just to control that. So you'll see what I mean. This will give you a kind of visual of it. I never run. They said I'm gone. Hey, what again? I want to, but I won't do. Oh, they said inside. Okay. Now, let's just check this out on the chorus as well, because I use the same technique on the chorus over here. But in addition, I'm going to show you a few things that can help make your vocal even more exciting. Okay, so we'll start off with the same combination. Just blank out all of this stuff. This is pretty similar. We've got the main vocal here, same chain with the distorted vocal added in. In case I wasn't clear, it's just a duplicate. This isn't a double. It's exactly the same track, just with this parallel processing on. Equally, I could have sent this to a auxiliary and just done the processing on there. That would work as well. But I've put it on, just malted it onto another track and played around with it there. Well, I guess you had to be there, 'cause you haven't got a clue, babe. What you think you had to fake it. You want to have them all considering their Okay, and you can hear that, how well that distortion works when he goes falsetto. It's kind of Matt Bellamy would be the wrong reference, but you know what I mean. Maybe it'd be a good reference. It's that kind of broken up, distorted sound. Just sounds really cool when on male kind of falsetto-y stuff. Okay, so we've got that. The first thing we could do, production-wise, I suppose, is to double that vocal up. Now, if you're not familiar with this, it's just getting a singer to try and repeat the exact same performance again, and just like doubling a guitar does, it thickens up the sound, and those little human differences between the two performances cross over somehow, and they just make it, thicken it up, but it's also got a sound to it. It kind of sounds chorusy. So if I add a double into the chorus, see if you can hear what I mean. Well, I guess you had to be there, 'cause you haven't got a clue, babe. Just without, for some context. Well, I guess you had to be there, 'cause you haven't got a clue. It's one of those things, as soon as you hear it like that, you're going to start hearing it in so many records. So yeah, I'm sure most people know about that, but that's what's going on in a lot of stuff you hear. Okay, so that would have been one option. And I think we even tried that and neither of us loved it. You could use a bit subtly, but in this particular case, it didn't work. Sometimes it works really well. But what we did was actually go a step further and we triple track the vocal. And you might be like, well, just adding more is not going to make it better. And that's true. But if you triple track a vocal and pan the two additional layers, hard right and hard left, it has a different effect. It's not so chorusy and obviously double tracked, but it gives the whole vocal like a bit of a widescreen feel. So I will show you that now. So we'll mute these triple tracks and then I'll put them in.
Well, I guess you had to be there, 'cause you haven't got a clue, babe.
Okay, and now with.
Well, I guess you had to be there, 'cause you haven't got a clue, babe. What you think you had to fake it.
I've gone slightly overboard with that so that you can hear the effect, but it definitely has a different effect to just having another double track straight up the centre. It just kind of widens things up a bit. I probably knocked them down a little bit in a real mix. Processing wise, I kept it simple with these, only I've high passed them a bit more. And the reason I've done that is because I've got all these guitars and stuff going on the left and right, and they're more of an effect. They don't need to be as thick as the lead vocal. The lead vocal's up the centre and I've left as much information in there as I can. But these two at the sides, I could get away with thinning them out quite a bit. I'm right up to sort of 220 there. They're both processed the same. They're de-essed and I haven't bothered doing too much else to them. It just didn't need it. It's a subtle thing. I didn't need to, in this case, add loads of characterful EQ or compression or anything like that. I've just controlled them a little bit. They would have had a bit of compression on the way in as well. So they've had that kind of serial compression done to them. And just some low end taken out. That's all I needed. So that's really helped to make that start to sound like a chorus, I suppose. That's thickened that right up. Another thing I've done to add to the vocals that we've got here is added some space echo. So space echo is essentially a tape echo with a built-in reverb, and I've run the lead vocal through it. The way I use the tape echo, I've rarely changed the tape in it. It's got very old tape in it, so it's quite a grungy, dirty sounding tape echo. Sometimes I use it overtly for delays and reverbs. Sometimes I use it more as a saturation tool. When I'm using it as a delay and reverb, I mean it's inadvertently a saturation tool as well. It adds a bit of life and stuff to a vocal. So I'll solo these so that you can hear what this one's doing.
Well, I guess you had to be there, 'cause you haven't got a clue, babe. What you think you had to fake it. You want to have them all.
Yeah. So it's a really cool sounding thing. I've used it fairly overtly there, but you can use it really subtly as well, and it just brings a bit of life to a vocal, and it helps it again cut through and sound thick. We've got some EQ here, pulling out some low end I don't need, a little bit of 800-ish area as well, and again I've got that micro shift effect on that one. Don't always do that. I did in this case for whatever reason. We can listen without and with, just see what I was playing at.
Well, I guess you had to be there, 'cause you haven't got a clue.
Yeah, that was quite cool. Well done me 5 years ago. So yeah, let's hear what we got. So this is the triple track vocals and the space echo.
Well, I guess you had to be there, 'cause you haven't got a clue, babe. What you think you had to fake.
All all I've left out in terms of those is the reverb, which is the same reverb we had on the verses. So it's the outer verb plate, bit of mid-range and stuff pulled out, darkened up a little bit. And then I've got the trusty H delay. What's that on a? It's probably like a quarter note type thing. Let's have a listen.
Well, I guess you had to be there, 'cause you haven't got a clue.
Okay, so I've just tapped that in, I guess. A trick that I often do with this delay, I don't know if well, it's got the function on there. I guess lots of people do this, but knocking one side out of phase really helps kind of widen things out. So I'll just show you on this. So other than that, all I've done here is quarter note type delay, high pass, low pass, just to filter out to the bit that I want. So this is without the phase flip.
Well, I guess you had to be there, 'cause you haven't got a clue, babe. What you think you had, you faked it. You want to have them all, 'cause
Yeah, so it just makes it sound big and stereo. You are playing with the polarity there, so it might not collapse down to mono amazingly, but you know, sometimes who cares. So that's that. Okay, that's all our sort of thickening and bits that we've added to the chorus. I'm going to talk next time in the next video about backing vocals and harmonies. It's tempting to start talking about the harmonies and things now, but I think that's better done in the next video. So just to recap, really, we talked about this parallel distortion. Now this could be parallel compression. You could do all kinds of different effects with this, but just that idea of having it in parallel. Again, you could send it to an auxiliary if you wanted to. I chose to keep it on another track in case I wanted to automate it differently, and I've still got the visual of the WAV form if I need to sort of see something. That worked for me in this case. So then we had the double tracking. This can work really well with some singers, doesn't work on other singers. Sometimes it works really well for certain sections of songs and not other sections of songs. It's kind of an effect, and it's very much a kind of what's the word, like an analog effect in a way. You can try making double tracks with plugins and things, but it's never quite the same as just getting the singer to do it again. Just like trying to make a double track guitar, if you've ever tried to do that, there's plugins and pedals and all these things that claim to do it, and they kind of have that effect to some extent, and that might be a cool effect and just what you're looking for. But if you're specifically looking for double track vocals, it's kind of the thing to do is actually double track it. If you're trying to double track a vocal and it's just not suiting the song, but you don't feel like adding a load of harmonies and stuff, then the triple tracking thing can be a thing to try if you want that bigger kind of, it's still chorusy and stuff, but in a slightly different way, and you can use it a bit more subtle than, as I said, like I would have tucked that back a bit. And that's something I use a lot, and it's a bummer for the singer sometimes because you've got to get them to sing it 3 times. But usually with the singer, you'll spend a lot of time getting the initial performance, and then once they've got it, when they're singing along to themselves, the double tracks and the triple tracks happen a lot faster because there's a comfort thing in singing to yourself, and you've already agonised over how everything's going to be sang. So you'd be surprised at how easy it can actually be. You can get plugins like Vocal Align and stuff. If someone's struggling double tracking their voice, those plugins can be really effective to kind of tighten them up if that's what you want to do. That's about it really for this video, I think. Next week we're going to talk about backing vocals, harmony vocals and all that kind of thing, and getting them to sit where you want them to sit in the mix. Just quickly with the space echo thing, I know I use a real space echo, but you could do this same effect with, there's so many emulations of the space echo and that kind of thing. I guess the point I'm trying to get across is having just a kind of grungy, echoey thing that's kind of saturated can be a nice thing to sit under your vocal and just help give it some vibe and some character and some kind of reality. So that's something you could try out with H-Delay, Echo Boy, whatever your DAW has really is normally some kind of tapey, echoey thing. If not, if you've only got a clean delay, you could try distorting that delay. I mean, you could try all kinds of things, but this kind of doing stuff in parallel and then having that freedom to be able to sculpt those parallel elements and make them sit in with your lead vocal can be really effective, either subtly or not so subtly. So there we are. In the next video, we talk about backing vocals and all that stuff. Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe to my channel if you want to. If you don't want to, don't bother. I would rap. I can't rap. Bye.